Hey there, geometry students. Today we've got another pretty straightforward basic lesson for you. We're going to be talking about angles and later on constructions. So it has a whole lot of similarities to what we did earlier in this unit with the segment addition postulate. So if you could handle that, you can probably handle this one just fine. An angle, we're going to define that as two rays or two separate rays with a common endpoint. And so I'm sure you all know what a ray, or what an angle is. You've seen them all the time, and so we'll just leave it at that. We do have different types of angles. We've got essentially four. We've got acute angles, which are less than 90 degrees. A cute little angle is how my 6th grade teacher put it. I've never forgot that. We've got right angles, which are equal to 90 degrees, and we'll be utilizing right angles often this year. And remember that we cannot assume that an angle is a right angle until we have a little mark right there. An obtuse angle is anything that's greater than 180 degrees, or not greater than 180, greater than 90 degrees, sorry. And so that would be anything that looks kind of like that. And then a straight angle is an angle that's 180 degrees. We also call this a line. And so these are your four options. The angle addition postulate, it goes something like this. If we have an angle with another ray on the inside, we'd wind up with something like this. We'll call it angle ABC, and then this ray will be D. We know that the measure of angle ABC is equal to the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC. So you can see how it's pretty much just like the segment addition postulate, which says that the two parts equal the whole. Well, same thing here. The two parts of this angle equal the whole angle. And then, of course, congruent angles, just real quickly, we'll write that down. That means that they have two angles with the same measure. No problem there. Okay, here, the first example, you will, one of your questions, or one of your I can statements, your first I can statement for this lesson is to classify angles. And so one of the things that you'll have to do here is you'll need to be able to measure them. So we'll take our protractor here. Make sure that you have a nice big protractor. That makes things a little easier to do, especially one of these that has some of the lines in between it so you don't have to guess so much. Make sure that your centerpiece, some people accidentally put the line here, but make sure it's right here on that center spot, and then flush with one of your angles. And then, it could be one of two measurements. If you can see out here, it says 50 or 130. Well, use your common sense. If it's more than 90 degrees, then it's going to be the bigger one. If it's less or acute than 90 degrees, it's going to be the smaller measurement. So let's see, it looks like here we have approximately 130 degrees. I will give you a little bit of leeway here, just because there is some room for error, but not a whole lot. Let's see, this one looks like it's 90 degrees, but we can't tell unless we measure it. Well, no, it does look like it's 90 degrees, and so we'll say 90. This one is clearly acute, so we'll put our center here, measure this out, and it looks like, let's see, I'll flip it over. That might make it a little bit more easier. Let's see, so we've got 50 degrees right here. All right, so there we go. That's how we use a protractor. Your second I can statement today, if we want to flip back to your ICANN statement page, we are going to, after classify angles, we're going to apply the angle addition postulate. And so that's what we're going to do here with this example. Again, we've got multiple levels that we could challenge you with. This one would be that level 2 type of problem where we've got extensions, but they don't have squareds in there, so that we don't have to use the quadratic formula or anything. So it says solve for x and then find the measure of angle ZYW. So ZYW, that would be this angle right here, if the entire thing is 72 degrees. Well, again, just like we would do with the segment addition postulate, you can add the two parts together, 3x plus 6 plus 2x minus 9. We know that that equals the whole thing, which is 72 degrees. And now we've got a nice little two-step equation, or I guess multi-step equation. Shouldn't be too difficult to solve for x. We'll combine our like terms, and then we'll add the 3. And so it looks like we get, let's see, 10, 15. X equals 15. Now, don't forget that we can't stop here. We need to put this back into our expression here to find the measure of angle W, or I guess ZYW, and so we'll plug that back in. So angle ZYW is equal to 2 times 15 minus 9. So we have 30 minus 9, or 21 degrees. So make sure that, one of the most common errors that a new geometry student will have is they'll put the degree sign here when they solve for x, but x is not an angle. Don't do that. But then they'll forget to put a degree sign on their final answer. But angle ZYW is an angle, and so we do need a degree sign there. All right. The primary tool that we will use for learning about constructions is a website that I found a few years ago, but it has literally every single basic construction step by step on a video that you can pause and redo and keep along with. So rather than trying to muddle around showing you on paper, I'll just point you in that direction. So it's on Schoology. Go to the welcome folder, and inside that welcome folder you'll see a link that says construction instructions, and go ahead and open that up. Today we are going to be covering the first 4 of the most basic constructions, which include copying a segment, copying an angle, and 2 others, which you will find on your homework today. So constructions are interesting. I love constructions. They are all about being precise and accurate. You can do the correct step, but if you're not careful, if you don't do each thing trying to do it perfectly, you won't wind up with the correct shape. So make sure ultimately that you leave the little pencil markings on your paper. So when you're constructing a congruent segment, for instance, you're going to have to draw kind of a long line and then draw an arc with your compass, okay, and then leave that arc on there. That's how I know that you have actually used your compass instead of just tried to draw it freehand. So make sure that you do that, otherwise you will not be happy with the credit that you get. All right, well that's it for lesson 4. Have a good day.